Welcome to Bootstrap Businessmen, the podcast devoted to the aspiring entrepreneur on a shoestring budget. Here are your hosts, #1 best-selling fitness author Dale L. Roberts and the Midwest's best, Kevin S. Allen.
All right, super excited. We're going from one show into the next, and I have to tell you that I am very, very honored to have our special guest on right now. He bent over backwards for us, and he was even waiting in the green room, to so to speak. I would consider this guy a bit of a mentor, even though that we've never really directly worked with each other, but there's been many indirect contacts, and I think he's been hugely responsible for my own success and my own businesses. So please, I was getting ready to tell people to give him a round of applause, but Kevin's going to be the only one. So very big welcome to Dewan Bayney. Dewan, man, I can't tell you how excited I am because, dude, do you know how much that you've brought to the table for me?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, and I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. But I'll take the blessings where they're given.
Yeah, it's dude. Yeah, you inspire a lot of people. My boy Scott, Scott and I, we'll call up and we'll have talking about Dewan. Dude, did you see Dewan's video? Yeah, I did see Dewan's video, and we take notes. But all joking aside, though, you really do spend quite a bit of time talking to some aspiring entrepreneurs and, of course, current entrepreneurs. So,
Absolutely.
What is it that man, you're so driven, man? Gotta share. What drives you? Why are you doing things like this? Because you don't get paid anything from me. You haven't been paid a dime from me. Well, outside from the software. But other than that, though, man, what makes you tick?
It's funny you say that. I went through the grind like a lot of people did, and I'm sure we'll talk about the online business stuff in a second. But ultimately, what it's come down to is I've seen this kind of smoke and mirrors in the online space where people are trying to make a living online and are getting led down these rabbit hole after rabbit holes. And when I finally broke through, I realized that it wasn't as difficult as people were making it sound, but it came down to actually being passionate about a product. And Dale, I've talked to you before, or Scott, about everybody focusing on these technical aspects of building a business rather than looking at that passion base. And truthfully, I found my passion, and it's honestly just sharing that it's completely possible to take your passion and create a full-time business from it online. I'm living proof of it. Friends around me are living proof of it too, and that's why I'm so happy to share for free. I've got businesses that help people as well, but honestly, that is my why, and it's not that I'm driven. It's like I'm being pulled toward this vision of just helping people succeed online rather than me feeling like I'm rolling this big boulder up a mountainous hill. So that's where my drive really comes from. It's just true passion and enjoying being able to hang out with you guys on a 6 p.m. Vancouver time on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah.
So obviously I put the cart in front of the horse, man. That's the way I am. I'm telling you, I'm really pumped because you gave me an awesome opportunity earlier on in January, and this was as we were laying the groundwork for what we were going to make into Bootstrap Businessmen.
Yeah.
So I got to give you a little bit of credit because literally by you bringing me onto your YouTube channel, what ended up happening is it really put a lot of credibility onto me, and I'll tell you, like, my book sales shot up. I started getting emails. I started getting contact through Facebook. I had coaching opportunities I didn't have before, so you really opened things up. So
Love it.
Take a step back, okay? Let's take a step back. Tell us about Dewan. Who's Dewan?
Yeah, and I guess, do you want like my backstory or?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Coles Notes version is, I've been working online now for about 8 or 9 years now. Didn't really hit big success until about 4 or 5 years ago. And 3 years ago, I was able to quit my corporate job. I am from Vancouver, Canada, for those people asking where I'm from. And I'd originally moved to Vancouver to pursue music, and started my own record label, left my corporate job, hit some early struggles with building this business, and ultimately, I guess my kind of breakthrough online was through Kindle publishing, where I understood the publishing mindset through my label and was able to scale my business extremely quickly. 8 months in, I was doing about $15,000 a month. And one of our close friends, Jason Brock, actually invited me onto his YouTube channel just to discuss what was working with me And very similar to you, it kind of gave me some legs to position myself to start helping at a greater level, where it wasn't just about creating an income, but creating an impact. So that was about a year and a half ago, again last year, previous year, January. And from then now, I've actually launched a software company that helps publishers identify lucrative markets, publish their books, and automate their business, really. There's a lot of admin stuff that goes into running a business, and truthfully, a lot of entrepreneurs aren't at the level to start hiring staff to manage it. So myself and my business partner created a software solution to help people through that. We're serving close to 700 people now in our group, which is awesome. Wow. And now I'm building out a kind of a boot camp, if you would call it, just to help people who are just starting off online figure out what their passions are and how to navigate to actually creating a business behind it, which is now kind of my true passion, is really just serving. And if I can touch one person's life and have them create their business that they love, imagine the ripple effect of all the people that they can serve. So for me, it's creating a legacy that's bigger than myself now, and I'm truly passionate about it. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
That's really, really amazing. You mentioned a corporate job. Are you at liberty to say who you were working for, or what type of organization?
Yeah, so I won't say the exact company, but truthfully, when I moved to Vancouver, I had no money, no idea what I wanted to do. Again, I wanted to get in the music industry. Literally, myself and my girlfriend moved here with $3,000 to our name and a rusted out '97 Honda Civic with a couple of garbage bags and a bunch of DJ equipment in the trunk, and literally that's all we had. And truthfully, I struggled a bit. I was working car rental for a bit, and then I actually have 12-volt installing experience. I'm a car guy by passion, well before. And I got an opportunity to be the support manager for a GPS tracking company. Again, I won't name the company. Yeah. And within about a year, I worked my way up from support to actually operations manager of the entire company. And truthfully, it was because of some mentorship from the actual entrepreneur who got me into learning and really beat me up in all the right ways. He gave me an opportunity to grow, but really challenged me both mentally, emotionally, had me overcome some of my own mental hurdles. But really, the biggest takeaway was that books, and to talk Tai Lopez, there's knowledge in books or on YouTube channels or to people listening right now that you can fast track your life just by listening to other people that have been through that problem and just executing on the solutions that they've already come through. So he kind of left that with me. That company was about a $200,000 to $250,000 a month business, so it wasn't big, but it was only about 11 employees. So it was small enough that I could create change in the business very quickly, but big enough that it could see the impact happening. So that's where I really learned my chops about systems building and really what a business is systems, right? That's really all it comes down to. I think a lot of people get stuck being a solo entrepreneur, not creating systems in their business, and they're not able to pull away. And that's kind of the difference between inheriting a job and then building a business. So that was kind of my trajectory there. And then again, at some point, I really just said, look, it's time for me to pull the net away and just jump and go for it. And that again was about three and a half years ago.
What was the first business that you developed then?
After the corporate job, or
after the corporate job?
It was my record label. I just said, you know what, I'm going to go for it full tilt, and I launched my label, Contact Records, and the rest is history.
That's really cool. I know there was one point I was briefly entertaining, and it was funny. You always have such a great way of giving advice. You don't necessarily ever say, you should do this, but in any event, I know I was like sitting there, I was like entertaining it, and then you were just like, I think we were messaging each other back and forth, and I knew kind of that you had a record label, but I didn't know the level of that. And so I was like, well, let me go ahead and get a hold of him. I can't remember what I contacted you about. It was about, distribution or something like that. And but tell me a little bit about Contact. Do you have like a number of bands that are assigned to it, or is it just strictly you underneath it? What all's involved?
Yeah, so with the record label, it's electronic music based, for lack of a better word, rave DJs and festival DJs and that sort of thing. I've got such a huge connection, and really my first true love of I didn't at the time understand, but music for me is freedom, and it's that in that momentness, and it doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, red, green, female, male, alien, it doesn't really matter, but being in a space and being just so connected with people and in the moment for those 2, 3, 5 hours or whatever it is, to me it became like a love language and this connection. at the time, again, I couldn't explain it, but now I can kind of look back and kind of see it. But so yeah, I've got about, I don't know, maybe 20 or 25 artists underneath the label right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
we truthfully the money's in events, so that's very similar to the kind of Kindle book situation. Your content is a way of getting eyeballs and building relationship, and then you sell tickets to make the money. So I do about six big shows a year, or I'm connected with at least 6 big shows a year. Yeah. November I was in Mexico. We're gearing up for festival season now. Truthfully though, and this is honestly and transparently, the last 3 or 4 years, it's been difficult for me to. I didn't want to monetize my passion of music, and it was very challenging for me to figure that out. Now, because I'm in a position of financial stability or whatever you want to call it, I'm finding myself really leaning back now onto the music side of stuff. And with the business skills that I've kind of learned through distribution on the Kindle side, I can now apply back to the music side. And the industry is really archaic in a lot of ways, where similar to publishers thinking that they need to go to a traditional publishing house to get their message out. The record label industry is very much in that way. So I'm actually looking to just set myself up now with my own email list, sell direct to customer, and then sell shows owning my own email list rather than going through the traditional publishing model.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense, and hopefully we'll segue over to self-publishing. I'm just so fascinated with music. I'm a very big. That's one of my first loves, next to reading. But in any event, so gosh, you've built this into quite a substantial business, especially if you're doing 6 main big events per year. How did you get in touch with some of these musicians?
It's so funny, and it comes down to just networking and putting yourself out there, and I think it's true with anything. We've got this thing called social media, and I don't think people really use it to the way that they should be. I didn't come here with any connections, Vancouver specifically. I'm being mentored by a large label in Germany right now, and it's only because, if you lead with value and lead any relationship when you meet somebody with value and ask, like, what can I do for them? That's when you stand out, and you're not going to become a moocher. Unfortunately, a lot of people in this industry, it's about me. What can I get? I'm gonna go to Dale's channel and I'm gonna promote my stuff, and like this is this mindset. Dale, the reason why I had you on my YouTube channel is because you're a giver. Okay. And I knew that you wanted to give and help people. Obviously, your guys' show right here is a prime example of taking time out of your day. So by being a giver and just showing people that you're a genuine person, you truly care about a win-win relationship, that's how the connections happen. And it wasn't anything special. It just became hey, one of my friends knows I'm a nice person, and I'm in it for the music, and I'm in it for helping other people share their message. Oh, hey, I'll make this connection. And it's so crazy. Everybody's at 1 or 2 degrees of separation, especially with social media, that if you just put yourself out there, say what you're looking for, ask for help, and be humble enough to ask for help, people will open the door for you as long as you're open to helping other people along the way. There's really no secret. It just came down to helping people, asking for help, and the rest kind of opened from there.
Something I discovered in probably this isn't your group that I noticed it, and I'm involved in a lot of groups, of course, on Facebook, and every now and then I see some entrepreneurs, and they mean well, they really do, but sometimes they get frustrated. They say, I am sharing, but nobody's buying my stuff. Yeah. What do you think's wrong in that logic, and how can they reorganize their thinking in order to get into the right mode?
It's so funny. It's almost you have to get to the stage of sharing without feeling that there's going to be any reciprocity coming back. And if you can just share from that center, well, then people will pick it up. Same thing today. I was in my Facebook group, and there were some people that were sharing information, but it was such a thinly veiled sales thing, and I think people have got their BS meter way up and really in tunes. People know that you're entering somebody's funnel, as an example. This is content. Your show is going to eventually lead to some sort of continued education for somebody down the road. It's a business. All of us are in a business, but absolutely, if you're into sharing openly and honestly just to add value, people will pick up on that. And I think that is the mentality, and they're technically thinking about, yes, I'm sharing, so I should get something back in return, but they're not sharing from that open place of, like, here, I'm just here to add value for you. If I get nothing back, it's no problem. if you get more value, you want to learn more, well then, hey, come on out and I'll help you get to another step. And I just think people need to internalize that, of sharing without thinking about reciprocity coming back, and that will be the difference.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I completely agree with you, and in the way that the way that I look at it, this is going to sound a little weird and sappy, is just unconditional love for people.
That's it.
You know, because when you truly love somebody, like your partner, girlfriend, whatever the case is, you don't expect it back. That just comes openly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a pure message, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people kind of miss that, And looking at some of the self-publishing groups, they will get to, my book is free, so I'm giving you something of value. But unfortunately, some people forget that you're investing time into downloading a book and reading this book and investing in that. So sometimes people think just because I'm providing free, it's value, but that's not true. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know about you, but 10 p.m. at night, I don't maybe necessarily feel like downloading a book on the paleo diet after I've had 2 beers or something. You know what I mean? So your ideal customer may not even be in the state of mind to receive the value that you're trying to give. But if you if you just keep sharing from that unconditional love mindset and you start branding, I hate to use the word branding, but branding yourself as that guy or gal out there that's truly passionate about helping people change their life through paleo, eventually they're going to get through their head. It's like, they might be having a meal and they see an option that says paleo at the restaurant, and all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, that Dale guy. Oh yeah, maybe I should go download that book. Like, they might have an epiphany at a completely random time, rather than that moment that you're trying to shove a book down somebody, or product or idea down somebody's throat. So really back to that unconditional love thing of just share openly, brand yourself as that guy or gal that is openly sharing, and it will come back eventually. And I think that's, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And just get out there and add value. It'll eventually come back.
Yeah, and you're so true. And there were so many times where I see some of these people, these young upstarts of self-publishing, and they do think that by providing my free book, I was doing the same thing. And I swear to you, it was like, and people can go over to your interview on your channel and watch the interview, and you can see how I related to that situation. So rather than us repeating it, go over to Dewan Bayney's channel over on YouTube and take a look at that, and you can hear some of my personal experience. But one thing I would love to tap on is, you talk about branding. What is branding, and how can that fit in someone's business plan?
Okay, so this is my interpretation of what branding is. All a brand is a promise to somebody. That's it. That's all it is. If you go to Starbucks for a coffee, you've got this preconceived notion of what the Starbucks experience will be. Tesla is a promise. Shopping at McDonald's is a promise. You've got an expectation of what you're going to consume. That's all I think branding is some sort of preconceived promise that the customer thinks they're going to receive. That's it. In terms of your business model and why I think it's important, look, all of us can sell the same widget. An ebook on the top 10 tips to lose weight is probably going to be the same right across the board. The difference is if it comes from the Dale Roberts point of view, Dale, I might really love your backstory, or I may really love the struggle that you've been through, or I may just like your personality. Likewise, maybe I don't like your personality at all. Maybe I'm a 16-year-old female and I just don't relate with you. That promise and that Dale-ness is your deciding factor in the marketplace, because the content is going to be identical in most technical things. I don't know if you're into self-development as an example, but if you read, I think we all are as entrepreneurs. If you read a Tony Robbins book, and then you read a Napoleon Hill book, and then you read a Brendon Burchard book, and then you read a Gary Vaynerchuk book, it's almost the exact same content, just reframed in a different way. I, for one, have all of those books sitting on my shelf right now.
Yeah.
It's the same content regurgitated, but the difference is the delivery and that brand of how Gary Vaynerchuk might talk to me in a certain way that I appeal to, and Tony Robbins appeals to me in a different way. That's all that brand really is, and this is kind of, again, that deciding factor of being able to communicate to that customer and that brand loyalty, because I love Dale's message and how he delivers it, that's what's going to make you stand out in the marketplace, not actually the content. And I think a lot of people are missing that. They say, hey, this is the best content, it's going to solve people's problems, but that voice and that story is not delivering to customers, and they're not attached to that Dale promise, and that's why they're not getting results.
That's amazing. Now, there's something that some people get hung up on. They're sometimes worried about, well, how do I brand myself?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I start? Sometimes they get really caught up on how to deliver it. So how would you help guide someone towards the right direction for that?
And I'm going to caveat this a bit, because I think a lot of people enter business, and again, specifically self-publishing. I don't know how many of your listeners are in the self-publishing niche, but I'm gonna lay it out here. I think a lot of people get caught in this. What is a hot niche? They go from romance to coloring books to cookbooks to this flavor of the week thing, and the problem is they're not actually passionate about what they're selling, and then so they're stuck in their head of, okay, what techniques and tricks, and hey, my covers look really great, and I can't speak to those people, because the truth is I don't think they'll succeed long term, and they can make it look pretty, and they can make it look flashy and hypey, or whatever you want to call it. But I think the people that are going to win, and hopefully I'm speaking to you right now, that passionate entrepreneur that's sitting here listening to this call, if you just put your heart out there and just be human and real, we're in 2016 where everybody's a social media guru, or everybody's got their own channel, and people are just looking for that humanization factor now. Be yourself. Put yourself out there. Be real. People just want to relate, again, and getting back to the Dale-ness. I just want to hang out with Dale and buy some of Dale's books because I like the guy. That is what your brand building is. You don't have to overthink it. By you even just creating this podcast, it's going to get people to know you deeper than those other 35 ebooks selling the exact same thing online. No, your buyer may not be on Amazon searching for top 10 tips. They may come in seeing this interview, check out some of your YouTube stuff, and then go buy your book. And that's where they're not going to start looking organically on Amazon. They've built trust with Dale, and then they're going to buy through your entire portfolio. And that's kind of the strategy I would say to people. Just put out your content there, and just be yourself, and you're going to start winning.
That's really such great news. It's always so tough, because I get a lot of these people that are aspiring in self-publishing, and even outside of that, they kind of struggle, because what they're thinking about is the dollar sign rather than just doing something they're passionate about. And when is it okay to say, okay, my passion's not paying the bills? I mean, when is it okay to leave from something like that and just say, screw it, I'll go back to my day job?
Yeah, and that's kind of a catch-22. I think because you don't know what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. And you might be giving up 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 years too early, and that grind is still there. My advice when I get people to start finding their passion-based business is go out there and find 3 role models out in the industry that are crushing it. Find somebody that, if you could take a magic wand tomorrow, go, boop, okay, thanks, that's my business. But be passionate about doing the work in that business. So, if you love Tony Robbins, be okay with being on camera and being on stage with 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 people in a stadium. Like, does that feel amazing for you? If so, okay, go model that person. You could take it a bit more micro, and it might be a dog trainer that's into raw food, as an example. I'm just thinking about Scott in my brain. I know that there's somebody out there crushing it, teaching people about raw food with dogs. It's because there is a market for there. I think people come about it the wrong way. They say, oh, I like animals. Well, what am I going to do with animals? This will never work, and I quit. I think you just need to get out there and find somebody that's successful in a marketplace, figure out what they're doing, and then just model them. And then there's no guesswork. It doesn't become a can I make a business out of it? It's, no, here's the blueprint. This is working. Now I'm just going to model their blueprint. If you can't find somebody in the marketplace that is doing what you want to do, that is a problem. If you can't find 2 or 3 other successful people doing what you want to do, now I'd retool it and say, okay, look, is there a different angle that I can approach this at? Maybe it's training people how to train dogs is the business model. I don't know, but that's kind of my feedback. That I don't think you have to throw in the towel if you start with the end in mind.
Man, seriously, you blow
advice.
me away every single time.
Yeah.
And you know, there were people that I looked at, and it was so funny because you mentioned the interview that you had on Jason Brock's channel.
Yeah.
And that was probably a turning point for me when I actually first saw you. And you know, it's not to sit here to stroke your ego. I'm not getting paid any money by Dewan, by the way. You know, Dewan has a certain charisma about him. You're very articulate in the way you say things and your delivery. It's just so on cue. So yeah, you were one, and Jason was one, and then, you know, oddly enough, I also just looked at someone, you know, who's always been kind of my hero over the years, has been Stephen King, which is so strange considering I'm doing fitness, you know, and Stephen King would be my hero. But I looked at what he did and I studied him, and I watch his interviews and I read his interviews and I read his content. I can't tell you how many times I've read his book on writing, and I still want to keep learning and growing. So that's why I keep on plugging into you, and I plug into Jason. Jason probably done sick of hearing from me. He's on vacation right now. He's like, man, I gave this guy my number. Oh man. But yeah, so that's really good. Good.
I want to touch on that quickly on the Stephen King thing, because you've actually mentally made a connection that didn't, from the front end, as you said, doesn't even make any sense. Like, Stephen King is a fiction writer, and you're into, you know, fitness, but you admire his writing style. Maybe you admire his impact on the world, or you admire, you know, what he's about. And that's the thing, is if you can make a connection, it could be something completely unrelated business-wise, but that becomes a mentor, and that's something that you can model then for steps for success. Because I'm sure you've taken some ideas from his business or his demeanor, and you've implemented into your business, and you know it's already successful. So away you go. So it's an interesting point that it doesn't have to be directly in line. If you can find something that you can model from a successful person, why not implement it to your business?
Yeah, absolutely. There's almost always something learned from somebody, and since Stephen King reaches back to, you know, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, reading actually it wasn't quite 9 or 10, it was 10 or 11, that I think Tommyknockers was my first book that I read. I saw it was so thick and I wanted to get through it, but it stays with me all these years later, and now that he's got his whole book out, and Mr. Mercedes and everything else like that, I still open it up and I find myself turned into a kid all over again. And one of the things that I try to implement as I look at his writing style and his work ethic.
Right.
His work ethic is just second to none. He's like, yeah, he writes 3,000 words per day. It is his set thing every single day. That's like 10 to 12 pages, for crying out loud. You know, so I think to myself, what is my hero going to do, and how am I going to go ahead and replicate that? So that's something I picked up from not only you, but also Jason, and hearing you guys say, look at the guy that you want to be as successful as, if not better. And I look at Stephen King and I'm like, that's the guy, you know, and I literally. So, but hey, I kind of rabbit trailed here. I would love to get us back over on track, because let's transition over to self-publishing.
Okay.
So Contact Records was off and running for a couple years, and then self-publishing crossed your path. What happened that you kind of got, you know, sidetracked, and that became like the big thing?
Okay, so here's the thing. Music is art, and you're not necessarily solving a problem, or there's no tangible way to know if your art is going to be consumed and appreciated. And let's be honest, with the way that the music industry is turned, streaming, people can download for free. It is what it is now. I had a friend introduce me to self-publishing as an opportunity, because I had been doing online stuff prior. I had affiliate sites. I've done drop shipping before, affiliate marketing. So I've been in the space and understood the business. The interesting thing about self-publishing is that you can solve a very specific problem and know you'll get paid for it. Like, literally, you can go on the bestsellers list right now in any niche and literally be able to see, okay, you know, if you're in, I don't know, weight loss, well, if the top 3 books are on vegan eating, hey, let's create a vegan eating book that's better than the competitors, and I know I'll get paid. So very quickly, I was like, oh my God, I can enter markets knowing I'll get paid as long as I can add more value. And that's exactly what I did. I just started entering markets and scaled very quickly. Once I found something that worked, I just went deep. I identified one core customer that I wanted to serve. I knew that they were going to have 100 different problems. I found out, okay, those 100 problems are on the Amazon store. There's already books in the marketplace. And I just started publishing. I went down that rabbit hole, and I was in 3 or 4 different niches under pen names. But truthfully, it just became wow, I can get paid to solve a problem. Amazon literally shows you what the hottest books are. Through experience, you can kind of start figuring out what you'll get paid. 100,000 ranked book is probably doing about 2 sales per day. So I'm out there looking for 40, 30,000 sales ranked books. Can I make a better book? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, okay, boom, and I start publishing, and that's it. And I scaled to about 100, 150-ish books in about a year, and you can continue doing it. And the market has changed where a lot of people, I don't know, I read a statistic like there's something like 30,000 books per day getting published on Amazon right now,
Wow.
which is crazy, but the game still applies. And I think, Dale, you're a perfect poster child, if you will, for Kindle 3.0, if you want to call it that, where if you continue publishing for the next year and, I don't know, publish 1 book a month, which I think is easily doable, especially if you dictate. I mean, you could have your iPhone. I'm actually not a very good writer, but you could use your iPhone, and you might be able to speak 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 words in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're a good speaker, get it transcribed, get it edited. You could do $1 a month easy. The longevity factor of the Kindle marketplace to me is just it's mind-boggling. Amazon's traffic is it's exponential. It just every year it just keeps ramping up. 4 years ago, if you talk to a 65-year-old about what a Kindle is, they would have had no idea. And now I was at the airport, and everybody from a 6-year-old to a granny's on their little Kindle device. So I think it's an amazing opportunity, especially on the front end, for people to get involved, create products that sell. But again, Amazon's telling you what's selling in the marketplace. So don't reinvent the wheel. I think there's 101 videos out there about how to pick a niche. But that was kind of my segue. It became so easy. I'm like, oh my God, I can solve a problem. I know I'm going to get paid. Amazon's telling me what's popular. So just create a high value offer and get to work.
That is an amazing amount of books, by the way. I obviously I know through experience, but you obviously have built one hell of a business. 150 titles in your year. Now, are these all like a bunch of standalone type things, or do you build like a specific brand underneath a specific name?
And that's exactly it, and that's why I had staying power. And again, full transparency, if I was blogging and being a thought leader in front of those brands, they would be doing a ton better. So somebody tomorrow could come along that is crushing it on YouTube, literally copy all of the content that I have, and they'll still stand a better chance than I would. Luckily, I've kind of positioned myself in niches in a certain way that I'm being taken care of. But what I was doing, and the idea was, I would create one book that would solve a problem. Mm-hmm. I've built trust. I've built relationship. Just like you said, Stephen King. If Stephen King releases a book tomorrow, or says he's going to release a book 6 months from now, you're going to buy it without even looking at it. If Gary Vaynerchuk puts out a book tomorrow, I'll buy without even thinking about it. Tony Robbins' book. So this trust was built. Too many people were using the shotgun approach, and here's kind of an example I'll think about. Let's say you create a book on foot warts. Okay, not a very nice topic, but it's a very specific problem, and it's something that you want to solve now because it's like a pain point, right? So that's a great customer. Somebody has a pain point, they want to solve it now, and they're willing to pay for it. Great. Mm-hmm. So you solve that problem. Well, where do you go next with that customer? Like that relationship is kind of over, right? Like truthfully, what are you going to sell to them? I'm not really sure. But if you get a golfer as an example, and you teach them how to add 20 yards off the tee, and you blow them away with their book, they're going to ask, well, what else does this person have? What else does this brand have? That's where the business starts rolling in, because now you sell them a book on how to putt, how to pick clubs, how to, it's endless. You might have 20, 30, 100 problems within this golf niche, and now you're not competing against organic search where people are typing in how to putt. You land them once, kind of reel them into your entire portfolio, and then you just over-deliver like crazy. And again, getting back to that Tony Robbins idea, Tony's going to bring the goods with his book. You already know that. That's not a question. So if I'm feeling like, hey, I need some motivation, I'm not necessarily going to go onto Amazon and search. I'm like, hey, do I have all of Tony's books? Do I have all of Gary Vaynerchuk's books? And that's the mentality that I created through my brands. So I just entered markets where there was a lot of problems to solve, over delivered, and then just kept building relationship, and that's how my business grew. It's really not rocket science. It's just serving people, really, and making sure that there's a problem path to serve.
It was so funny that, early on, and I think, like I said, it came down to you directing me. Unfortunately, I started just underneath my own name. I was trying to connect the dots, but it was becoming forcefully so. So, for instance, I have my quotations books, and that stuff's still on the market. I just never took it down because there's still a little bit of a demand for it.
Sure.
But if I had it to do over myself all over again, I probably wouldn't have done that underneath my brand, because I feel like you're kind of stretching this idea of brand, because the workout plan is ultimately the brand that I'm on, but I started attaching these other things to it that just, it was kind of like, yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch.
Right.
So that's, that, unfortunately, that was my way of shotgunning. It was just, I was trying to, put these things together. I'm like, oh yeah, D1, totally, it's about mindset, quotations go with mindset. Workout plan, unfortunately, a lot of people are coming to the workout plan for exercise. They want exercise. They're not coming there to learn how to play checkers, even though checkers is great for, mental stimulation.
Sure.
It's not going to be a workout plan. So hopefully, I can help people kind of guide them towards that direction. So where are you at in self-publishing these days? I don't hear you talking about it very much.
Yeah, and I'll be 100% honest. I think self-publishing is a fantastic solution to get your name out and get moving. But if you want to create a huge impact, I feel like continued education and creating larger courses and it's like if you read a small book versus going to a university class versus sitting down with a mentor for 2 months and going over your business, there's just a different level of change, or impact is basically the word that I'm trying to say. I'm maintaining my self-publishing business as is. My income has been honestly replaced by the other businesses that I'm running now, and I am working now on my own personal brand, and fear was one thing, and I'll be kind of, here's a quick thing on a side note, I don't want to rabbit hole too much. I think a lot of us are just too afraid of being judged by other people, and the level of success you have means nothing. It's just these inner blocks of what if I get that weird YouTube hater, or what if I get a bad review on my book? So I'll just hide behind pen names. And I'm guilty of it too, and this is, with all the experience that I've had, I still never branded myself, and I was kind of in the shadows helping people, like you said, and not really putting my face forward. So for those people that are out there thinking, man, I want to put that book out, but I'm afraid, don't be afraid. There's people out there that need your help, and it's almost selfish for you to hold this information to yourself when you could be out there serving people. But getting back on the publishing side, yeah. So I'm kind of on a holding pattern with my books. Chiefly, I don't want to publish anymore to maintain it, and I'll be using Amazon as a way to funnel traffic to myself. So I've got goals to put 6 to 8 books out under my personal name, just as lead magnets. Hopefully, this doesn't get too technical, but here's kind of my tangent here. Amazon's got all of these eyeballs, and for me to make $2 per sale, it's not going to really change my life in terms of sales, But if I can lead with 6 or 8 books on very specific problems, whether it's related to entrepreneurship or finding your passion or whatever it is, I want to just give that away for free and just add value. If people want to learn more about me and my businesses, then I've got continued education that they can then take on. I can pull people off of Amazon, and then they can come into kind of my world where I can give them video courses or PDFs or one-on-one coaching or whatever it is. So that's the strategy that I'm working at. And from a number standpoint, I mean, if you want to make $10,000 a month, and I think that's a goal that a lot of people seem to want to achieve, or that 8,400 a month, that 100K business, we'll use the round number of 10,000. Well, you need to sell 5,000 units on Amazon in order to make $10,000 a month. And I'm not sure what that works out to be daily, but it's a lot of sales. But if you've got a $47 product that could absolutely change somebody's life, if you're a personal trainer out there, you're probably charging $60 to $70 an hour already for one session. Imagine if you packaged 6 weeks of training, video training, meal plan, the whole works, and charged $47 for it, which is an amazing deal. It's less than 1 hour of your time one-on-one. You only have to sell 200 a month. That's what, six a day on a 30-day month, and you're making the same income, but you're creating even more impact. And that's kind of where I'm at now. Is I can create more impact, honestly, less work of having to manage 150 books, and it's just easier the whole way around. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I've got ambitions to scale to a 7-figure business this year, and that means I've got to create some really big impact and really change people's lives. So, my goal is to help 1,000 entrepreneurs create a passion-based business and ultimately leave either their soul-crushing job or change their business that they're currently in to something that they love. So it's a big goal, but if I can help 1,000 people do that, well, what's $1,000 from 1,000 people to make $1 million? Like, do you know what I mean? And that's kind of my mindset now.
Yeah, I truly believe that you have every bit of capacity in you to do that. So is it premature for me to say what's coming on down the pipeline for you?
No, not at all. Go for it.
Yeah, so what's on tap? Because I know that you were up a little bit late last night. Well, technically not late in our time zone, but you were going to be up later. I remember it was like 11 o'clock, and I'm messaging you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm hitting the sack, because I did 2 nights in a row of like 5 hours sleep, and I'm like, "Rah!" So you were doing something last night, working on.
Yeah, so I was working on my personal website. And again, getting back to the fear thing, I wasn't ready to put my personal name out there, and I think this internet marketing world, it can kind of be a little bit blind leading the blind, and I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be an established person that made money outside of that kind of internet marketing space before I showed people, like, look, it's possible. So I think I've proven that to the community, that I can build a business completely outside of the how to make money online, and now I'm going to teach you how to make money online niche. But so the group and the free group, and I'll kind of plug it here quickly, it's called the Digital Lifestyle Bootcamp. DewanBayney.com/passion is how you'll be able to join. It is up right now. So it's just a free Facebook group. We've got, I think, about 550 members right now, and it's growing, of just passionate entrepreneurs that are looking to finally build a business that they're passionate about. My end vision and the course that I'm creating right now is going to be basically a beginning to end. Like, let's get this business up and create an income now, beginning to end. You don't have to piecemeal, okay, I've got to go check out this course now, or I've got to go check out this course. From initial idea to rapid product creation to market to traffic to scaling, it'll be an all-in-one course, everything that I've learned in the last 8 years of doing business. And my goal is to break that seal, because I think, like I said, there's shiny objects out there. They're everywhere. It's, you're a Kindle publisher and you hear about somebody doing 30 grand a month in romance. Okay, I'm going to go do that. But your passion's not there to make it happen. And then you hear about coloring books. And then your friend that ditched Kindle 6 months ago is now an FBA, and they're doing $80,000 a month. And then that FBA person's heard about this guy that's flipping homes and making $1 million. So, there's just this rabbit hole syndrome that I think everybody fights with, and my goal and my dream and my vision is just to end that, and like, look, this is where you're going to single focus because you love it, and let's get you from idea to market, and let's get this thing moving, get some momentum, and whatever else you do after that is great, but I hope to be that catalyst for people that they can look back in 5 years and say, wow, this was the moment, and this was the content that changed my life. And for me, it's amazing legacy. So that is the second 7-figure business. I'm not going to be unapologetic about it. Again, the numbers, if you're to say 1,000 people at $1,000 or 2,000 people at $500 or whatever it is, the numbers really aren't that astronomical in the grand scheme of things. And I want people to think about that I've seen people spend $5,000 on a weekend seminar. What's $500 to change your life? And so that's it. That's what I'm working on right now, and I'm truly passionate about it. I think it's the greatest impact that I can create right now for people.
Yeah, that's no lie. Actually, I was at Rich Dad Poor Dad a couple of years ago with Kelly, and Robert Kiyosaki had a couple of his. He had his his paper assets manager come in and run the thing, and it was wonderful. But
sure.
go to that next level, it was about like 15 grand, if I could recall, at the higher level of things. And I knew I could make the money back, but unfortunately I looked at it and I said, can I really invest myself all the way in this and go for the long run? And I just knew I couldn't be passionate about going and doing stocks and trades and things like that. So the problem is I'm so fortunate. My best friend, you know, this sounds crazy to say, but I was happy that he was fired from Walmart recently. I was just ecstatic he was fired. I was like, congratulations, dude. I was like, now you get to be an entrepreneur.
Love it.
But the problem is, I told him, I was like, just here's the thing is, entrepreneurs can drown in opportunity. You just got to learn how to swim in the water that you like to swim in and master that before you look at any other water. So
so true, and we're all guilty of it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And here more recently, I just, you know, thankfully, I still have Jason. I'm working very directly with him, and sometimes I'll share some of the things with him. And one of the things is, you can see this microphone. I purchased that specifically because I was going to start to record my own audiobook creation exchange books. So I was going to do my own audiobooks, and he was just like, he specifically just asked a very poignant question. He's like, do you know how to do that? And I was like, not really, but I'm going to learn it. And he's like, that's wasting time. He's like, you could go and put out a lot more great content, more workout plan books that can really help people, or you can take the time to have to go and learn this. He's like, I think you know the answer to this.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. Okay.
Doubling down on your strengths is so key.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know when you have to hire out to some people. So, man, I always love talking to you about things like this. I get all fired up. I'm gonna start flipping over tables. So when are we looking at a launch for this, man? Because I'm super pumped about something like this. Are you doing it currently now? And how is somebody going to be able to get in touch with you about this?
Yeah, so right now the group is open, and that was my, you know, you talked about investment, and at the time you weren't ready to take that next step. I'm trying to take away all the barriers. My goal is that if you have no money, no friends, you're in a crappy situation in life, and you just need to connect with one person, the group is the answer. That's it. That's all I care about is join this group, be surrounded by like-minded people that are achieving, even if you are in your dark little hole. That's been live for a long time now, and I'm personally in that group helping people and adding value. In terms of the courses that are coming out, I'm working on it right now. I want to make sure that it's from a place of love and not scarcity, and a place of I don't need to create this course is what I'm trying to say, but this is my art now, and I want to make sure that it's something that I love and is going to help people. My timeline is probably a month and a half, 2 months away before I launch the actual course, but I'll have piecemeal smaller courses. So, you know, if you've got $7 to your name, and skip that Starbucks coffee, and I'll have smaller courses that you can take. And my mental goal, and this gets back to over-delivering, if you spend $7, I want to make 10x. I want you to make $70 on that $7. Nice. And that's the mindset that I'm creating all of my stuff with. So same thing, if it ends up being $1,000, I want you to make $10,000 on that $1,000 within 3 months or 8 months or a year, so that it's never a thing of, man, I didn't get my cash flow from it. It's, I know that if I spend this $1,000, I'll make $10,000, or my goal is for you to make $100,000 and further on. So that's where I'm at right now. I am very busy with my other businesses behind the scene. Again, not to knock anybody, but I think a lot of these guys in the make money online space don't even have real businesses, and that is their business. So you know, I'm in a position where I'm trying to delegate a little bit more, so that the not the day-to-day stuff, but the stuff that, like you said, that I can hire out for that maybe I shouldn't be doing, like designing my website at 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday night and the night before. I can let other people do that, and I can use my time to scale to make the biggest impact, which is creating content to help people change their life.
Well, to say it to you person to person, you know, actually it's a very clean, very awesome looking website.
Thank you.
Definitely, it speaks your personality. You know, that's really awesome. You've done great work. So,
thanks.
You know, that's something that happens sometimes. Some people kind of try to do it all themselves. Why shouldn't they always do that?
And this is me talking to myself, because you know what, you've got strengths, and at some point, in order to get to the next level, you have to just focus on those strengths and let other specialists take care of what they're good at. You know, like another prime example, I ended up having to do my own taxes in terms of all the bookkeeping. Not the taxes itself, but the bookkeeping. It took me almost 3 days. That was actually right before I went to San Francisco to go see Brené Brochard. And it's just simple things like that. Like, is that serving my message? Is that serving my community? Is that helping any? No, it's almost selfish for me to be doing that when I could have been creating some content or being on a YouTube or being in my Facebook group and helping people. So at some point you just have to accept that you're not going to be good at everything, and that's okay. And the most exceptional people on this planet, like Michael Jordan, maybe is not a very good chef. You know, maybe he's really crappy at gardening, you know, or maybe he's got a really dirty house. That's fine. He excelled at one thing, and that was basketball. And look, he's so exceptional. You know, I think too often we get told, oh, we've got to prop up our weaknesses. I say bullshit. Like double in on our strengths and find somebody else to fill in those weaknesses for you. Because if you're exceptional at that one thing, that's what's going to take you the distance, not the weaknesses. So, I mean, your podcast, you know, the name is Bootstrap, but once you're past that and you've got a little bit of money coming in, or maybe you've got a spouse or a kid that can help you out, take advantage of that and double down on what you're good at so that you can push that further ahead, because you'll end up bottlenecking your business. Truthfully, I've bottlenecked my business tons in the last year and a half, 2 years, because I've decided I want to just do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. I think we're all guilty of it. And you know, the mentors that I'm looking up to now are the people that know how to build effective, motivated teams that love what they do. And that's kind of what I'm now learning is, how do I build a team that loves the mission and vision and feels empowered to wake up every morning and build this. And that's going to give me the ability now to be this strategist in my business and work on it rather than in it.
That's really, really cool. I want to touch on something before we even
Sure.
go any further. Let's speak a little bit to our audience. Obviously, if somebody's paying attention to Bootstrap Businessmen, they're obviously a frugal individual, or they don't have very much money to do something. So what happens when somebody is not suited or equipped to, say, set up a website, or they have something they don't know how to do it? What's your best solution for somebody like that?
Okay, and are we talking like a digital product or just entrepreneurship in general?
Entrepreneurship in general. So let's just say, for instance, I don't know how to do Facebook ads.
Okay, so I'm going to talk, I guess, as general as possible, because I think that's the best way of talking about it.
Yeah.
All a business is you solve a problem, create some value for somebody, and then you get paid for it. That's it. That's all business is. This thing called the internet is just a distribution method for your message. You do not, if you're watching this video right now, you have everything you need to create a business. It could be a flip phone. It doesn't have to be a smartphone. I mean, if you can watch YouTube, you're fine. If you can record audio, if you can type, there's free sites like Udemy, Gumroad, Coursera. There's all these platforms out there that are already set up that all you have to do is, if you can log in with your email address and upload something, you have a business. If you can use Skype, you can consult somebody for a fee. There's so many ways that you can do it for free. I think so many people get stuck on, okay, I need a logo, and now I need a website, and now I need business cards, and I need an office, and I need all of this minutia, when really all you need is a way to collect payment and a way to add value to people. That's it. So I think if you're online and looking to create something, information products, I think, are the fastest way and easiest way to get started. If you know how to solve a specific problem, again, getting back to my talk about modeling somebody, find somebody on Udemy that has a course that you feel like you could solve. It could be as simple as how to create a Facebook ad. Let's use a Facebook ad thing, because I think this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
A general practitioner doctor might make $200,000 or $300,000 a year, right? A family doctor. A dermatologist who's a specialist might make $800,000 or $1 million, because they're a specialist at one thing. Specialists get paid online, not generalists. So you could spend an entire weekend, go through every single YouTube video that you could find on how to create Facebook ads, how to retarget. Find three main topics. Maybe it's how to create the ad, how to retarget, and how to get ROI on it. I'm just using random ideas. Okay. Research for the entire weekend on YouTube, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever it takes, until you become an expert, enough to teach somebody who's never done Facebook ads how to get a result. Maybe it's their first opt-in through Facebook ads. You are now an expert because you know how to create an outcome for somebody that, like me right now, maybe I don't know how to do that. I would pay you $10 or $20 to just show me instead of me having to spend 48 hours how to do that. You're selling time, basically. You're selling, look, I've done all the research for you, and I've condensed it into, for $10, I'll just show you exactly how to do it. Now you've learned a skill. Go to Udemy, record that skill, and away you go. It could be anything, and I think this is this kind of the stigma of, oh, I don't know what to do. You can go learn a very specific skill, get out there, learn it, condense that information, upload it to Udemy, upload it to a Gumroad, and now you've got a business because you're a specialist rather than a generalist. So that's kind of my feedback there. And who knows, maybe there's somebody that wants a done-for-you service now where, look, I don't even want to take the video, just set it up for me. Okay, well now instead of charging $20, it becomes $200. Maybe I want coaching on it. Well, because you're a specialist on Facebook ad, okay, well, I'm $100 an hour on Skype. That's how you build a business. Overnight, you get some results, over-deliver, ask them for referrals, and the rest is kind of history. So you can get started tonight with no money, figure out a skill, and just get your content out there.
Man, that just gets me pumped up. I'm telling you.
Love it.
That's the whole thing about bootstrapping, and I always try to share people. There's just so much out there that you can be able to do. If you don't have the money, well, you've got a brain in your head. All you got to do is just utilize it and start to become. You got to figure out, okay, it's not a Rubik's Cube. You don't have to do it like 20,000 different turns. You just got to turn it once. The Rubik's Cube's solved.
Exactly.
And it's just there's so much out there. And the more that I'm in this business, the more I start to realize, I'm like, sometimes the most simplest answers are right under you, and you never just really realize it. So, all right, man. I didn't get a chance to talk to you person to person on this one.
Okay.
But you talked about one of my favorite authors. You went to go. Wasn't it an entire week with Brendan Burchard?
Yeah, it was unreal. I have to say that Brendan was one of the first people that really showed me what internet marketing and internet business could be. Because before it was this kind of not hidden business, but it's the brands with no face. It's the affiliate sites where you don't even know who runs it, or it was drop shipping, and there's never this kind of customer to business owner relationship. And I came from the hospitality industry. I mean, again, I loved music. I grew up in the service industry, and this exchange of energy of like, hey, I did something for you, and then I get not even paid, just this energy back, I loved. And I saw Brendan launch whatever it was 7 or 8 years ago with his first courses, and everybody's got their struggles. Brendan was pretty professional from the get-go, but to see him at the level that he's at now, where he helps Tony Robbins launch his recent book, Oprah's course recently, Ariana Huffington from Huffington Post's course, just the levels are unreal. Millions and millions of people on Facebook. I think he's like 4 million, 3 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm not sure what the numbers are. They're astronomical, but going to see him live for 5 days, this gets back again to that brand. It's so funny. I've actually got the handout here somewhere. Truthfully, the content was not anything new for me. It was, figure out your core message, create a sales funnel. I had some key nuggets, but the content generally was very. At my stage, I've been there and done that and built it. But the passion and the storytelling and his struggles and the context of 5 days of him teaching it's absolutely changed my life. It's the reason why I'm now working on my blog. It's the reason why I'm excited to start on my own brand now. It's the reason why I'm not, sitting back on the passive income 4-hour work week lifestyle and I want to hustle. It's because of his context and his stories, and he's just an incredible speaker. 13 hours a day, 4 days straight. The energy level from the beginning to the end was just, it was phenomenal. No slides. I had 3 hats that I kind of was there. I went there as just a student to consume his information. I went as a business person to model his sales funnels, because truthfully I think that the way his business is structured is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then the person Brendan, just the human being, his authenticity, his ability to speak, and just him as a human. And it was life-changing. As somebody that's made my money online, I want to go to more live seminars not only just for that, but also the people that I met. There were so many 800 passionate entrepreneurs there, and the friendships and the connections that I've made there, I'm sure last me a lifetime. So for those people out there that are kind of thinking about, hey, I shouldn't go to this convention, go. You get one little nugget, you meet one close friend, and it could be the difference between a crazy abundant year and a struggle. So yeah, unreal. I would recommend it for anybody to go.
Yeah, it's such a worthy investment. See, I didn't go to that particular one. You know, Brendan's great, wonderful, but I just know the way I am that, you know, once I'm on a project, I got to finish it out.
Yeah.
So eventually I will get myself over to Brendan, but I've been to many, many conferences with my wife, and we've sat through many of them. And yeah, you meet, when you go to these conferences, you're not just investing in learning something from a person, you're investing in the energy. There's almost like an energy exchange between you and the speaker. You can't get like on a YouTube video or something like this live. You know, it's so much different. It's an intangible. It's an X factor. Completely. And the other thing is you get to meet other people that are positive, uplifting, and they motivate you, and you build like a long-lasting relationship, and you start to develop an amazing network of people. We were just interviewing Kyle Stanley. He's a good example of, you know, someone I networked with, and somebody I can say, man, that guy's awesome, and I would always, you know, just refer people over to him any day. And I think you're also a prime example of somebody I network with. So, you know, imagine, you know, just, you know, how, this conference is going to cost me $1,000 or $5,000. No, what it's going to be doing is it's going to be providing you something with, you know, years and years of friendships and so many business contacts. I can't tell you that, you know, when I had looked into wrestling, I saw that the ticket was $3,200 for 3 months of the tuition to go up in Calgary, and then I had to pay to get in a, you know, a place to stay and food and things like that. And I was so worried. My mom's like, look, you're thinking too much about the money. Think about what you're going to get out of it.
You know what the best part of that is the other people that went with you or that were there had to go through probably the same struggle and the same problems, yet their asses were at the same seat, and that camaraderie of knowing that, you know, the girl that I went with, she came in from Israel.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Like to the USA, you know, I flew from Vancouver, and that was a 4-hour flight. She was like 29 hours travel total to get there. Ooh. So just being able to be in a room with committed people, like that committed, it's like what's my excuse? You know, if they're willing to be here, you know, spend my $3,200 for your wrestling thing and fly into Calgary and, you know, figure out the hotel, and like that's commitment, and that creates that excitement. Like, wow, I'm here with this room with these people that are as committed. Like, I'm here to show up, and that almost immersion level of being in a situation like that, I think, is, like you said, it's something that you can't get in a YouTube video.
Absolutely, man. I tell you what, we actually run right on an hour here at this point. Dewan, I could talk to you all friggin' night. I really appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule, and of course, waiting for us as technology issues were getting ironed out. You know, it's funny, we were saying in the prior interview, oh, everything's working perfectly. It jinxed us. I didn't say a word about you, and everything worked just fine. So before I jinx myself any further, how can someone get a hold of you, and what is your contact information?
Yeah, so you guys can just hit my main website, dewanbayney.com. I've got pretty much all the projects that I'm working on now are laid out there, whether it's music, entrepreneurship, or lifestyle design. Everything's kind of laid out. I do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/dbayney, and then I'm on all the social, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, the whole thing. I guess we can just put it in the show notes. But my home's at dewanbayney.com. You'll get all the info there. And, you know, truthfully, the entire message for me at this stage now is, look, you guys have a voice. You guys have a message. I don't know if you can hear the Ferrari ripping by. I don't know if it came to the mic.
Yeah.
It's just ripping past here. Joys of Vancouver. But seriously, if you've got a message and a story and you've been through a struggle and you're passionate about sharing with people, you know, if it's that after you've had 3 beers and you just seem to keep talking about this thing that you want to help people with, commit, do it, because somebody needs that message. And there are people, there are mentors. It doesn't have to be me or Dale or anybody. Just go find a mentor that's done what you've done. Commit to it, because you know what? 3 years looking back, you're going to love your life, love your business, and you'll be creating change that matters. And I think that's really all we're looking for, is that fulfillment. So that's it. Just get out there, guys, and love your life. Have fulfillment. Have fun. Who cares if you've got technical issues in your business? This is fun. This is great. We can have a laugh, right? It's all great. Like, we didn't have to be super serious about it, and this is kind of the point. So that's it. That's kind of my take home.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much, D1. Kevin, do you have any final words? It looks like I kind of, cut you off a few times.
No, man, that's fine. I'm actually just kind of drinking this in, man. First time really getting a face-to-face sort of with you. Thank you for sharing you tonight with us.
Yeah, no sweat.
I really appreciate it. So.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for tuning in, folks. And once again, appreciate your listening in. And D1, thanks again. Take care. Have a good night, everyone.
Please support the show by simply shopping at Amazon through the link in the show description. Every time you make a purchase through the provided link, a small percentage of sales goes back to support the show. There's no additional cost to you, and it greatly helps us out. Simply go to the link, bookmark it in your browser, and do your shopping on Amazon while you support the Bootstrap Businessmen podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Bootstrap Businessmen.